Hey friends, Mo here. Today I'm going to take you through my time at Really Rad Weekend 2024. Really Rad Weekend is a video game convention held down in Fort Walton, Florida every year, and it's hosted by Joe and Sam, the owners of Rad Junk, a retro video game store down there, and they also own something really cool that you don't see a lot anymore, a barcade. It's essentially a half bar and half arcade with a bunch of cabinets, pinball machines, all sorts of stuff. And they're some of the coolest people ever. So naturally, I think they put on one of the coolest events ever. So sit back, relax, and let's look at Really Rad Weekend 2024. Getting ready to head out for day one of Really Rad Weekend. Today's goals are looking for Way of the Samurai 3 for 360, looking for Pokken Tournament DX for Switch, cheaper than I can find on eBay, meeting Kelsey Lewin, and just having a great time. So let's see how it goes. So up first, me and Andrew decided to go through the vendor hall because we had the VIP passes that got us in an hour early. And it was just game after game the second you entered, any console you could think of. So I spent a lot of time just digging through buckets and finding all sorts of cool stuff. Even like some Sega Genesis and some old Atari games. I fell in love. And you also saw a bunch of collectibles, like a bunch of issues of Nintendo Power and some store display signs from like the GameCube era and the N64 era, and stuff like that has always been fascinating to me. And I even saw these really cool Star Fox and Mario statues at this one guy's stand. And there's this place, Pixel Parts. They did these awesome signs for different consoles, and they even had these controller mock-ups where they just took them apart and made displays. They're really cool. I really wish I had picked up either the GameCube one or the Dreamcast one, because they both just look fantastic, and I would love to have them for my game room. So I'm definitely going to be checking out their website sooner rather than later. So just got done in the vendor hall, got a bag full of stuff, got a poster, and now we're heading over to the free play area to see what kind of tournament stuff they got going on. Supposedly a Halo 2 tournament this morning. So the first free play area was nothing but arcade machines and pinball machines. My personal favorite was definitely Crazy Taxi. And then the second room, they had a bunch of consoles set up to play, whether you wanted to be on an Atari, a GameCube, whatever. And then in the middle of the room, they had a bunch of the retro consoles. Like I'm talking the ColecoVision, the Magnavox, and even had a few dev kits, like this one for the Xbox, which looked really cool to me. It looks like a halfway point between the 1S and the 1X, if you ask me. And then my personal favorite thing, the Panasonic Q. If you don't know about this beauty of a machine, it was a version of the GameCube, only released in Japan, that they made to essentially combat the PlayStation 2, because the PS2 really took off for its ability to play DVDs. Unfortunately, the Panasonic Q did not sell that well, so it never left Japan. And after I spent some time here looking at all the consoles, I went next door and found someone who was making custom Pokemon card buttons, which is the coolest thing that I've seen in a while. So how did you get started making buttons?
I had an idea, and then we found out that you could buy button makers, because I loved buying pins and buttons from conventions I went to, but I really, I didn't know how easy of a process, how accessible of a process it was. And so we found a button maker, and then we got started with the one from just Michael's. And then once we got, we were like, oh, this is actually, really fun to do. We found a nicer one online, so then we've been doing it at little conventions ever since. Super fun.
So after I got some Pokemon pins made, I went down to a panel that was being hosted by Kelsey Lewin, and she talked about a lot of stuff from her time opening new locations for Pink Gorilla Games in Seattle to how bad reproduction cartridges have gotten in the retro scene, and she really spent a lot of time talking about her book and a lot of interesting parts of going through her process.
So that's the thing that always bugs me about research is it's never actually done. There's literally always more stuff coming out. There's an Animal Crossing YouTuber actually that just that started his channel probably within the last year, so after the book was already completely done and going to print and everything. And he had not a lot of brand new information, but some really interesting stuff that I was if I wanted to talk a little bit more about the weird technical side of this, that would have been a good thing to include. And then the other thing I regret not including is speedrunning community. Even just like a paragraph or two about it.
Kelsey Lewin today. Kelsey, where can people find you?
Hi, I'm with Pink Gorilla Games in Seattle, Washington.
Heck yeah. So I spent the rest of the day going around to different panels and meetups, and at the end of the night they had a video game trivia, which was interesting because they mostly did cartoon theme songs. Now we're gonna get into some of my day 2 adventures. Of course, I went back to the vendor hall to see if anyone brought different stuff to restock, see if there were any different vendors, and it was all pretty much the same, but still super fun to look through everything. That said, the majority of my day was spent going around to even more panels, and my favorite one that I went to was a video game store Q&A panel hosted by Joe, Sam, and Kelsey. Joe and Sam from Rad Junk, Kelsey from Pink Gorilla Games, and they talked about all sorts of fascinating stuff. So just got done at the video game store Q&A panel with Sam and Joe from Rad Junk and Kelsey Lewin from Pink Gorilla Games. And they talked about some really insightful stuff as far as the challenges they faced running stores, how they got started, what the trajectory is like, how social media and the pandemic have both influenced it. And I just want to shout them out, specifically Joe and Sam for putting on this whole weekend. It's been awesome so far. I'm having a blast. One group I really want to highlight is NES Maker. Joe started this really when he was a kid. He started making a game called Mystic Searches, and he put it away after he sent it off to Nintendo and they said, "We don't take unsolicited pitches." Years go by, he finds it in an old box, and he decides to start making it again. And he starts trying to show it off at different conventions, but people are more interested in how he made it. So he started selling the tools as a development kit called NES Maker. Not only does he sell the kits for development, he also helps people who make games on those tools get their games published. And he even has a few comics that are out now that he partnered with Austin McKinley to make. Like he has one for Mystic Searches and then Austin's child game, Riot Force. And they're just some of the sweetest guys at the convention. And they honestly inspired me to get into it myself. All right, we're with NES Maker. Where can people find you?
Hey, you can find us at thenew8bitheroes.com. That's a website where you can download, get a license for NES Maker, download the software, and then from there you can link to other places like the Retroverse, which is where you can play some of our games, and where you can actually pick up hardware and related things if you wanted to actually purchase other games or comics or soundtracks or things like that that are all on that site. So.
In the same room as NES Maker, they had a bunch of meet and greet stands, and one of them was with Bill Rogers, the guy who voices Brock in Pokemon and King Rowan in Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom. He was awesome to meet. Another group that I really want to highlight is the 401st Infantry Division. They are a primarily Halo-focused cosplay group, and the two guys that were there were super amazing just to listen to and talk to, and I immediately fell in love with how much they care about safety first and foremost. They talked about 3D modeling, whether you're using foam or plastic, and it was just a great time. And that was about it for day 2 for me. After this, the friend that came with me and I decided to go get dinner at this place called Vibe Vegan Bistro. And oh, that was some of the best food I've had in my 4 years of being vegan. Andrew got the vegan lasagna and I got their spicy chicken pasta. It was ironic, we went there super close to closing, and so they gave us this massive double chocolate chip muffin to take home for free because they were gonna throw it away. As if that wasn't enough, I also decided to go to Parlor Donuts before we left town. Alright, it is travel back home day. I'm on my way to go pick up some donuts and then come back to the house and wake up Andrew so we can get on the road. Really Rad Weekend 2024 has been absolutely amazing. I've had such a great time here, and I cannot thank Sam and Joe and everyone at Rad Junk for putting this on, and everyone who came from all over the country to just be a part of this event. It was a really great time and an awesome reminder just about how awesome the retro community is as a whole. Everyone is super kind, super supportive, all about what matters, which is inclusivity, safety, and just good vibes all around. And now for a fantastic donut reveal. Parlor has multiple locations in the Southeast, like in Florida and Alabama and Tennessee. This is the dozen that I got for my family. Flavors like turtle cheesecake, bourbon caramel, campfire, some amazing donuts. And then these are the vegan ones that I got. They're always so good. And now for probably the most important part of the video, all of the pickups. What you're seeing right now is a collection of most of the stuff that I got on day 1. Mostly a bunch of games, a few issues of Nintendo Power, this awesome GameCube sign, a copy of Kelsey Lewin's Animal Crossing book, the Pokemon pins that I showed off, just a bunch of awesome stuff. And now for some close-ups, I got a couple issues of Nintendo Power. Over the past year or so, I've gotten really into collecting as much physical media and memorabilia as I can. I really want to start getting some store display signs too, to hang up around. And this is a copy of Mystic Searches from Austin and Joe, the NES maker guys, and I had them sign it. And then here's the NES Maker development toolkit that I got. Right now, a big plan I have is to make a visual novel type game, whether it's about my own life or something else that may come up. And then here's Kelsey Lewin's book that I picked up. She wrote this all about Animal Crossing. And of course, I had to also get a pink gorilla plushie and a sticker, because why not? The plushie's actually sitting on my video game shelf right now. And this book is definitely up next on my to-be-read list after I finish Jason Schreier's newest book. And this GameCube sign is probably one of the things I'm most proud of that I got at the con. This group, Pixel Parts, they were also with Retrobeard. They make some cool stuff. Like, they have these, they also had the controller displays that I showed off earlier. I love it. And now getting into some of the actual games that I picked up. First off, Cave Story Plus for the Switch. Now this one I had a while back, but sold it when I sold off my Switch collection, and I love how it comes with this mini CD soundtrack and the little booklet. Just physical media inserts like this always really warm my heart. It's definitely a game worth picking up if you ever get the chance, just saying. And then I got Octopath Traveler and Octopath Traveler 2. These are some of the best Square Enix games on the Switch, if you ask me. Clubhouse 51 games, because I'm a sucker for party games. Then we got Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, another underrated Fire Emblem game, if I'm being honest. Pokken Tournament DX, one that I never played because I never had the Wii U, so I'm interested in seeing how a Pokemon fighter is going to work out. Then we got Prince of Persia Warrior Within to help me fill out my GameCube collection and also get more Persia stuff. Space Raiders. I've actually never heard of this one before I saw it today, but with it being a GameCube exclusive, I kind of had to pick it up, you know? Then we got True Crime Streets of LA. This is one that I've heard a lot about, so I'm really interested to see it. Spyro Enter the Dragonfly. This one is typically deemed one of the worst, but I'm curious. Tales of Symphonia. Just a classic good JRPG, you know. Lost Odyssey. This is one that a lot of people say is amazing that I haven't gotten around to yet. And then we got Morrowind for the Xbox, because I'm a sucker for Bethesda. And there you have it. That was my time at Really Rad Weekend 2024. It was a fantastic, or should I say rad, weekend. I cannot thank Joe, Sam, and everyone who came out enough for making it the incredible experience that it was, and I'm definitely going to be back next year. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. All my socials will be down in the description below, and until next time, game on, friends!